How has the reaction been from other CEOs or people who kind of are outside the company? I'm assuming that you've gotten people coming inbound that are peers. Are they laughing at you? Are they excited? Are they asking, how did you do this? Why did you do this? Like, what are those conversations like?
Well, first of all, I think this is a year where every CEO is busy, like minding his own business, right? Like that they've either got a business that has serious solvency issues or struggle, or they've got a business that's being digitally disrupted or twisted one way or the other, and or they've got all sorts of employee care and feeding issues. So this is not the year where a lot of CEOs are necessarily sitting around shooting the whatever about what's happening this year, right? Everybody's kind of all hands on deck, working hard. The people I do speak to, though, and I speak to some, I would say everybody has had a lot of their assumptions shaken this year. Assumptions about how the market will behave, assumptions about regulations, right? I mean, assumptions about international business, assumptions about their balance sheet, and things that were inconceivable last year. Right? Oracle, TikTok, all sorts of interesting things that you will see on the paper, and people will just like nod, and they're like not even a second thought, like, oh yeah, that's happening, that's happening. All those things are being considered this year to a much greater degree. So I do have people coming to me and they want to know, how do we think about it and why do we do it, and and they're all starting to think, what's their angle on this now? And so I think it's catalyzing people to be much more open-minded.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Do you feel like you've kind of broken the dam open and now a bunch of people will follow? Or do you think that this is kind of a slowly but surely, it will take a lot of time for more to kind of follow in your footsteps?
I think it's like the 4-minute mile. I think that people told themselves they couldn't do it, and then someone does it, and then in the next year, dozens and dozens of people do it, right? This particular case, there's a lot of stuff that I've done in my career that was a lot harder than this. And I will say any entrepreneur that ever successfully launches a business and gets to profitability will have accomplished something much harder than what we did. So it's a challenging project, but it's not beyond the capability of any management team. I think that a lot of people just kind of had a mental block, or it's just in this block of, I just dismiss it, I don't even consider it, and then they get focused on something else. My own experience is, from the day that I decided that I wanted to buy Bitcoin, if I decided on that day as an individual, you go to these high-end exchanges, it's going to be 6 weeks to get through the KYC for an individual if you want to do it. If you're a company, a private company, and if you had your team all around you, from the point that you thought it was interesting, you're 12 weeks to 18 weeks to get through the hoops. If you're a nimble publicly traded company, I think you're looking at 6 months. And if you're a good company, like just a good, rational, publicly traded company you put on the docket, you would do it in 9 to 12 months. And so I think that people were kind of oblivious to the need / the role of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin narrative of digital gold, right? This is the ultimate inflation hedge. This is if it's not 10x better than gold, it's 100x. Maybe it's 1,000x better than gold. We could go on for hours. I could tell you why I think it's 1,000x better than gold. But let's just assume, since we're preaching to the choir, that it's 1,000x better than gold. Once you realize that it's 1,000x better than gold, from that point, it's minimum 12 weeks if you went like a bat out of hell, and probably 6 months. And I kind of feel that if people were waiting to see if this was possible, well, they kind of saw our announcement August. So the 6-month clock starts in August. If they were super, if they were just perfectly configured, if they had all the same characteristics as us, then they start focusing on this in May or June. Nobody's thinking about this in March or April. Everybody's just so busy trying to keep the doors open and their bell's getting rung. So take August and say August, September, October, December, January, February. I think that what you're going to see is over the next 2, 3, 4 months, something interesting. And, the other point, right, that's not lost upon me is there's 3,500 publicly traded companies. There's $5 trillion in their treasuries, and it's all melting. And yeah, at some point, you have a fiduciary obligation to not lose the money. Okay, like it used to be acceptable to be conservative, but that was before the asset inflation rate went from 6% to 30%. When the inflation rate goes to 30%, it's not necessarily something you can ignore. So I think that a lot of people are getting catalyzed right now. I think it has to be kind of CEO, CFO led, right? Because it is an innovative thing. But I think that that we've shown people how to do it, and we've shown them that it's possible and straightforward. And once it's like anything, if I tell you it's possible, go figure it out on the internet or go figure it out on YouTube. You can figure it out yourself, right? All you got to know is that it's possible. It's possible to run 52 miles in a single day. Go figure it out. You're going to go Google 52 miles in a single day, and then all of a sudden fall down the rabbit hole. So I think people now know it's possible, but I don't think you can expect them to move in less than 6 months reasonably in a year.